I wanted to record my process of redesigning this chosen bottle to match my chosen object here, the OPZ synthesizer. You know, the form is like pretty blocky, um, sharp edges. We'll see if we can maybe pull something like these details, the plus sign maybe into the cap. I like this grid pattern. Maybe this grid pattern could be used for the grip. So yeah, I mean, I was going to do it anyway. Figured I'd just throw on the screen recorder. A good idea would be to, start with some sketching of the bottle. So here's roughly what I have. Can always just grab the snipping tool, drop it into Sketchbook. And just, yeah, I don't know, like starting to think of, oh, of course, my pen's not working, so this is going to be a finger drawing. All right, finger painting design. Yeah, so I don't know, let's see, get my brush size smaller. So if I look at this OP synthesizer, it looks like it's a lot straighter. More primary, so I could turn that into a cylinder. I don't know if this is just a sharp cone. Not loving that. Maybe we can, maybe it looks like just very basic. I almost feel like I want to make it blocky though, which makes it hard if we're going with a pure revolve. I think it would be cool to, if we zoom in here, to put this like plus sign in the top, similar to those buttons. So basically just getting my ideas out there. I don't need to spend too much time with this. I don't know, maybe there's a bit of a chamfer here, but I guess the whole thing's pretty blocky. Maybe it's a proportion thing. Let's bring this neck up. And then for grips, I was thinking of some sort of gridded system. Like that. All right, yeah, I think I'll probably go for something like that. So definitely want to make sure you save and, yeah, make sure that whatever you're editing doesn't, you don't write over your existing bottle, and that way if you make a mistake, you can always start again. So I'm going to start by looking at my master sketch here and just jumping in and making some changes. So let's see, proportionally, I'm just going to delete out some of these dimensions. I'm going to Alt-V to turn on my sketch so I can see the background. I'm going to right-click on this photo ref and click on the eyeball to turn that off, since that doesn't matter as much anymore. And here's what I'm going to play with. I think I want to drag this up. So I think as much as possible as you're editing your bottle, try and leave the features. Maybe I'll give that a slight angle. Let's see. And I think proportionally I liked it like a little bit taller there. So by leave the features, I mean don't delete this sketch if you can modify it. But of course, for example, here where I want this to come straight down, I'm actually going to go ahead and delete these arcs. And this will give us errors down in our tree. But the reason I'm recording this is I figure that way I can at least show how to perhaps repair that. I'm going to delete this dimension. And I'm going to leave this 1/4 inch push-up foot landing area. It's a pretty basic bottle. So I'm going to exit my master sketch here. We're going to get some errors because basically things are now missing. It's lost references. I'm actually surprised that as much rebuilt as it did. So, if you have a red X, it means something is totally missing. It means it cannot find, what that reference is. One thing you could do is open the bottle that you started with and see what that was pointing to. So for example, I can click on this fillet here, fillet 1, and I can quickly see like, oh, okay, it was at the foot. So then I can go back to my edited bottle. I can right click on this and say edit. And I can, actually I guess it showed me, I should have checked this first. I can just reapply this to the foot area. But if I look back to my synthesizer here, I remember the edges are really tight. These are very small fillets. So when I come back here, I can like clear the selection. I can reselect the base here, and I can change this to be a lot smaller, like 0.05 to make that fillet tighter, so it kind of matches that aesthetic a bit more. I can edit this one and see it's at the top, so I can clear the selections here, reselect this face, and again maybe 0.05 to get those fillets to rebuild. And even that maybe is too big. Cool. Yeah, I'm sort of digging that. It kind of bothers me that this is as narrow as it is, so actually I might change that. This is something that could either be changed in the master. Let's see here. So what I want this to jut out and then come down. I think that's going to look more aligned for what we want here. And really I want to dimension this center to here, just to hold it in place. And then I'm going to select this line and this line, this line and this line, and tell them to be collinear. Now let's exit and see what happens. Cool, rebuilt. So honestly, this spacing here is like kind of not realistic. This spacing is used in manufacturing. I think machines like handle the bottle there, push it around, but I kind of like that wider neck proportionally. Again, to be more realistic, I would actually need to go in this master here, and this is probably, yeah, that's way too small. That's got to, well, maybe half the size. That's got to be at least 0.1, probably 0.15 actually, or 1/8 of an inch. That's more realistic. And actually, it'd probably be a good idea to get some fillets in there, but let's see. I'll use this fillet command and expand it. Cool, I'm happy with that. All right, the next thing I'm going to change is the grit pattern. So, you know, this is up to you. You could do it in the master. I guess that would really honestly probably be best practice. I'm just going to do it in here. Now, one thing you could do if you don't want to do it in the master at the very least is try and tie it to the master. So what do I mean by that is I just hit Alt-V to make sure I can see my sketches. There's a point command here in the sketch toolbar. So I can drop a point on the midplane here, and this way I can attach this to the center line, make it coincident. Now I don't have that synthesizer with me, so unfortunately I can't measure, you know, the width of this. But it looked pretty narrow to me. I'd like this to be like 0.05, or yeah, 0.04. Actually, I like 0.04. That's good. And I have it existing in about the same space. Now ideally I would also have it go a bit wide this way too. I'm kind of sketching this in a bit of a silly way, honestly. And what I can do is I can set this to be equal to this. Now really what I want this is also to be centered. On here. Now the problem is, the reason why I'm saying I'm doing this in a silly way, what I really need to do actually is flip this. Yeah, wait, let me plan this a little bit more carefully. I'm going to set this to be for construction. Basically, I want to sketch a capital letter I is what I'm struggling to do here. I'm just going to do this. Yeah, now we can see like our shape is enclosed because it's fully highlighted. I can again set these two to be equal. And if I set actually these two to be equal, it should center itself. And what I could do is put a construction line in the middle here. Drag and select this top features. I don't want to accidentally select this one, so I'm going to control click on that to deselect it from the group. Now I'm going to keep the group and select this, and I'm going to select mirror entities, and we should see it appear at the bottom here. And then this I'm going to set for construction. And there we go. I maybe have it a bit too tall, so I'm just going to drag it a bit smaller. The reason why everything's holding is because of the relationships. If you recall, this is the same size as this. So it's all those like kind of careful considerations that add up. All right, so right now it's not happy with us. Yeah, there you go. They're not quite touching, which actually maybe that's a happy design accident, but my intent was that they would align and look like one seamless line, so I'm just going to drag that wider. And there we go. Now they add up. But clearly SolidWorks is not happy. It's giving us errors down here. Oh, and I know why, because we deleted those arcs out. I'm going to let this black box disappear, not move anything for a bit. Hopefully we can see it. No? Okay. So I apologize that it's underneath this tracking device that's telling you what I'm clicking. But hopefully you can see it says Revolve 3. I'm actually going to right click on this sketch and edit it. I wonder if actually I can, no I can't. I'm going to edit this sketch. And here we can hopefully see what's wrong. It's if I hide this body, you can see this like dark green sketch. This is what we deleted before. So this is why it's not happy with us. It can't find it. So I'm simply just going to delete these out. Anytime you have like a dark green or a red in a sketch, it's not happy with something. So I just put a new line in there, told it to be vertical. I can set this offset. I don't want this to be that deep. I think I want this to be like a 0.5 millimeter maybe, so like 0.02 inches. And exit out of that. And now we can, if you can't ever see your body, look for the tool here. And there it is, just like some kind of gridded grip similar to what they had. It's not, the other error is this fillet has just sort of like, you can see it's missing its references. Again, I apologize, you can't see it behind this black box here, but there was a red X next to the fillet command. And here you can see it's missing everything. So I'm simply going to right click in here and say clear selections. And then I'm just going to click on these faces. And just sort of work my way around. It is a lot of selecting. If your computer runs slow, you can change this to say no preview. And it should go a bit quicker because then it doesn't have to calculate. Now the bad thing with no preview is if you accidentally select something you didn't intend to, it won't you won't have that heads up. And then I'm going to select this edge. And I'm going to select this edge. And then check this box. I don't know, even if that fillet's too big, we can make it smaller. This like neon green is kind of making me cross-eyed right now. So I'm going to click on this beach ball over here. You can see colors here. So I can right click on this and say edit appearance. If we want to match that teenage engineering synthesizer, maybe it's like this middle gray. Alt V to hide everything. Now, last but not least, like I said, I just wanted to put maybe, I don't know, maybe change this. So let's say you want to modify something. So like this pattern, if I want to like turn it off like a switch, I can just suppress this command. And now all the grip has kind of disappeared. And maybe instead of that, and this is where I think it's good to keep your tree organized. I want to drag this blue bar up and put it in the same place. I'm selecting this top face and Alt S. Actually, wait, no, I'm going to exit that sketch. I want to make this fillet a bit smaller. Just again, because everything on that device is all the fillets are pretty, tight. Really here, best practice would be to create a sketch on the top plane. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to create a little plus symbol here. I wonder, I think I can select this, and there's a move entities. Can I rotate? Will it copy? No, it does not appear it will. So I'm just going to make another one. And actually, really the best practice here would be to create a center rectangle. And I can just simply tell these to all be equal, and this length to be equal. Let's see. And if I look back at this design, there's a circle around it in a straight line, so I kind of would like to mimic that. So I'm going to create another circle here, and then another center rectangle. Whoops. Clicked in the wrong place. I'm hitting escape, or I was trying to. So I'm going to select this again and make sure I click the origin this time. I'm going to exit the sketch. This is going to be kind of like a mini master sketch in the middle of my tree. I do that sometimes. You know, if you want to rename it, I would like rename this like cap detail. And the way this might work is I might say, I now might create a new sketch. It's asking me what plane I want it on. I'm going to select the top face. If I Alt-V to see everything, I can right-click on this and say select chain, and then click on convert entities, and it will copy just that rectangle. I can also select this, and then with my trim tool, make a closed shape. And now I can extrude cut this down, maybe 1 millimeter. Remember to, in feature scope, select, in this case, only the cap, because I don't want to accidentally cut the bottle. So selected body is only this one. And then same thing, create a new sketch, this time on this face. And now I'm going to select my plus symbol, select chain. Chain means anything that's like attached to an endpoint, it will copy. So right click on this, select chain, convert entities, or C. And then T for trim to trim out this middle. And now I can just sort of extrude cut, again, maybe about 1 millimeter down. Cool. And yeah, maybe, I don't know, putting in some of those gridded grips on the side or something. Last but not least, I would, you know, maybe throw in some fillets on here. Again, maybe a bit smaller, and maybe on this face. Sometimes you have to break it out. The reason it didn't want to do that there, I think, is because it was too close to the other one. Let's see if that's true. Oh no, it doesn't want to fill it here. Okay. So maybe I'll just leave it at that. Cool. So there you have it. That might be my modified bottle. Last but not least, I would want to drag this down. Let it rebuild. If you are turning in a final model, delete any suppressions. You know, save a copy for yourself. It's good for working, but if you're passing files off to other people and you don't want them to accidentally have the wrong thing, you know, you can delete those out, or especially like a final file, like if you're sending it off for production or something, or in this case for grading, I will subtract points if you have suppressed items. So there you have it. Hope that helps.